My real name is Lawrence Joel Cohen, but everybody calls me Doc. Since I was 16 years old, I've been Doc. That's my pharmacy background. I was a senior vice president of a drugstore chain out in California. I became an early victim of corporate downsizing, except back then we called it getting fired. So I didn't have a job. My sister saw this startup franchise in Atlanta called Great American Cookies. Back then it was the original Great American Cookie Company. It's been reduced down now to Great American Cookies. And so, I went and looked at it and I thought, you know how many cookies you have to sell to pay the rent in one of those malls? A truckload. So at any rate, I went back to California, did some research, and I said, I think maybe I can make some money doing this. And so I agreed to be the franchisee in California. I was going to have the whole state. I was going to be really big time, until the franchisor found out they hadn't qualified in California to sell franchises. And so I ended up from California to Lafayette, Louisiana. I'd never heard of Lafayette, Louisiana. Actually, I thought Louisiana was a suburb of New Orleans. I never heard of Louisiana. But I ended up there and I opened a store, a brand new mall in Lafayette. It's just a wonderful town, a wonderful place, and wonderful people to deal with. And I thoroughly enjoyed living amongst the Cajun Louisianans. It was just a whole new experience for me, one that I'll never forget and will always appreciate. The fine people in the Cajun world of Louisiana. That was fun. And then I was the first franchisee at Great American Cookies. And I was lucky that I was able to help the two founders, who were both very, very smart individuals, build out this brand. Since I was the first, they kept sending people down to look at my store and ask me, if I was happy with the brand. And of course I was. I found out there was a lot of dough in cookies. From there I expanded. Next one was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and then my landlord in Lafayette had a mall in Panama City, and he said, "You got to be my cookie guy in Panama City." And so I went there, and one thing led to another, and started growing, and ended up moving to Houston and opening 30-some stores in 7 states over a period of 35, 40 years, I think. Became the largest franchisee at Great American Cookies, and had the first store do $1 million in sales. Grew it to where we had 4 stores doing $1 million in sales. And then I got involved. Franchisees were invited to join the International Franchise Association, the IFA. And Great American founders asked me to represent the company at IFA, and I said, sure, I would do that. And I did, and then I got active in the Franchise Association, and I was only the second franchisee ever to chair the board at the IFA. And after my term there, they asked me to be chairman of the foundation. So I chaired the foundation for a couple of years, helped raise $8 million toward education, franchise education. Next thing you know, here I am.